You know what's messing with your head right now? She's acting like you don't exist. She's treating you like you're just another guy. She barely acknowledges you in group settings. And every fiber of your being is screaming that she's not interested, that you should move on, that you're wasting your time. But here's what's going to blow your mind. There are 8 specific behaviors that look like total indifference, but they're actually proof she's obsessed with you. And sign number 6, it's so backwards, so disturbing even, that most men refuse to believe it's a sign of love. They think it means she hates them. But when you understand the psychology, you'll realize it's the strongest indicator that she's already planning a future with you. But before I get to that, I need to tell you something that's going to sound impossible. There's one sign on this list, sign number 4, where she's doing something behind your back, something that involves your name, your reputation, and people you know. And when I reveal what it is, you're going to immediately think back to situations where this happened and you had no idea. Stay with me, because once you know this, you'll never miss it again. I'm going to walk you through all 8 signs. But here's the thing. If you skip ahead, you'll miss the one detail in sign 3 that separates a woman who's mildly interested from a woman who's literally tracking your every move. And I'm not exaggerating. There's a specific time window I'm going to mention that proves she's checking on you more than you check your own phone. That's not curiosity. That's obsession masked as indifference. And at the end, I'm going to tell you the one sentence you should never say to her when you finally realize she's in love with you. Because if you say it, even with good intentions, you'll trigger a response that will make her shut down permanently. I've seen it destroy relationships that were weeks away from becoming something real. So stick with me. What you think is rejection might actually be the biggest green light you've ever gotten, but there's a right way and a catastrophically wrong way to handle it. Why she acts like you're invisible and why that's actually terrifying. Let me paint you a picture. There's this girl. When you're not around, her friends say she talks about you constantly. She analyzes every text you send. She replays conversations in her head. But when you show up, it's like you're a ghost. She barely makes eye contact. Her responses are short, almost dismissive. She laughs at everyone else's jokes, but yours get a polite smile at best. You're thinking, cool, message received. She's not into me. Wrong, dead wrong. Here's what's actually happening in her brain. And this is going to sound completely backwards, maybe even manipulative. The more intensely she feels about you, the more she needs to create the illusion of not caring. Why? Because in her mind, showing you how much she cares gives you all the power. And power in relationships feels like a guarantee of getting destroyed. But here's where it gets dark, and this is the part most people don't talk about. She's not just protecting herself from you potentially hurting her. She's protecting herself from becoming the kind of woman she's seen before, the one who loses herself, the one who becomes too much, the one who scares men away by caring too hard, too fast, too intensely. She's watched her friends fall hard and get blindsided. She's maybe been there herself, opened up completely, and had someone weaponize her vulnerability. So now with you, every instinct is screaming, don't let him see how much this matters, because the moment you see it, you have the ability to destroy her. But here's the part that's going to change everything. Her body betrays her. Her behavior betrays her. And if you know what to look for, she's basically screaming, I'm in love with you, while her mouth says, you're whatever. There's actual neuroscience behind this, and it's disturbing. When a woman develops serious feelings, her brain releases a cocktail of dopamine, oxytocin, and cortisol. That last one, cortisol, is the stress hormone. Her brain is literally treating love like a threat response. Studies show her amygdala, the fear center, lights up the same way it would if she was being chased. Her body can't tell the difference between falling in love and running from danger. And when humans feel threatened, we either fight, flight, or freeze. She's choosing fight. She's fighting her feelings by pretending they don't exist. And the crazier part, the more she fights them, the stronger they get. Now, I'm about to give you 8 signs that prove she's madly in love with you, even though she's acting like you're invisible. But I need you to pay attention to sign 6, because that's the one that will make you question everything you thought you knew about women. It's the sign that makes men think, no way, that can't be right. But it is. And when you see it, you'll finally understand why you've been so confused. Sign 1. She remembers everything but pretends she doesn't. The memory test. This is subtle, but it's powerful. And here's where it gets creepy. You mentioned something random 3 weeks ago, your favorite childhood movie, the name of your first pet, how you take your coffee, a story about something that happened to you in middle school. Weeks later, she references it in conversation perfectly, with details you forgot you even mentioned. Then she immediately catches herself and plays it off like, "Oh, did you tell me that? I don't remember." But here's what you need to understand. When someone doesn't care about you, they don't retain details. Your words go in one ear and out the other. But when a woman is obsessed, she's cataloging everything. She's building a database of who you are because she's trying to figure out if you're worth the risk. She's memorizing you like she's studying for the most important test of her life. The reason she pretends she forgot is because remembering makes her vulnerable. It reveals that she's paying attention, that she cares, that you matter, that every word you say is significant to her. So she protects herself by acting like she's not hanging on your every word, even though she absolutely is. And here's the test that will blow your mind. Mention something obscure in conversation, something specific, maybe a band you liked as a teenager or a place you want to visit someday. Don't bring it up again. Wait 2 weeks then. See if she references it. If she does, even casually, that's not a coincidence. That's investment. That's obsession. But here's what most guys miss, and this connects directly to sign number 4, which I'll get to in a moment. She's not just remembering what you tell her, she's remembering things about you that you never told her at all. How? Keep watching. Sign 2. She's colder to you than everyone else. The warmth paradox. Here's where it gets confusing for most guys and honestly kind of messed up. You watch her interact with other people and she's warm, friendly, laughing, engaged. She's lighting up the room. Then you come into the picture and suddenly she's guarded, distant, almost standoffish. It's like someone flipped a switch. Your brain says she likes everyone else more than me, but that's not what's happening at all. And when you understand why, it's actually kind of sad. When a woman is casually interested in someone or not interested at all, there's no risk. She can be herself. She can be warm and open because there's nothing on the line. Those people can't hurt her because she doesn't care if they stay or go. But with you, everything feels like it's on the line. So she creates distance as a defense mechanism. This is called emotional regulation. She's managing her feelings by managing her behavior. The colder she acts around you, the more she's trying to convince herself and you that she doesn't care. But here's the tell, and this is where it gets almost uncomfortable if you know what to look for. Watch her body language when you're around. Is she positioned toward you even when she's not talking to you? Does she adjust her hair or her clothes when you enter the room? Does her voice change slightly when she addresses you, even if her words are short? Does she find reasons to be in your space while simultaneously acting like she doesn't want to be there? If yes, her words are saying one thing, but her subconscious is screaming another. She's fighting a war inside herself, and you're watching the battle play out in real time. But here's the dark question you need to ask yourself. Why is she working this hard to hide her feelings? What happened to her that made her believe showing love is dangerous? Because that's what this is. This isn't a game. This is trauma response. This is self-preservation. And if you can see that, everything changes. Now, before I get to sign 3, I need to address something important because sign 3 involves technology. And when you see what she's actually doing, you might feel like you're being watched. And honestly, you kind of are. But stick with me because understanding this behavior is the key to knowing if she's really in love or just casually interested. The difference is in the timing, and I'll explain exactly what I mean. Sign 3, she stalks your social media, but never engages the silent observer. This one is huge. And when I tell you the specific detail to look for, you're going to feel a chill run down your spine because once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. You post something. Could be a story, could be a picture. Doesn't matter. She views it within minutes, sometimes within seconds. I'm talking you post at 11:47 p.m. and by 11:48 p.m. she's viewed it, but she never likes it, never comments, never reacts. From your perspective, that's confusing. If she's checking your stuff that fast, why isn't she engaging? Because engagement is evidence, a like is public, a comment is traceable. But viewing, that's something she thinks you won't notice, even though you absolutely do. But here's where it gets disturbing, and this is the detail I promised you. Check the pattern. Is she viewing your content at weird hours like 2:00 a.m., 3:00 a.m., times when most people are asleep? Because if she is, that means she's lying in bed in the dark, unable to sleep, thinking about you so much that she's refreshing your profile, hoping you've posted something new. That's not casual interest. That's obsession. That's someone who can't get you out of their head, even when they're trying to rest. And the fact that she never engages means she's desperately trying to hide how much mental real estate you occupy. Here's what this reveals. She's keeping tabs on you. She wants to know what you're doing, where you are, who you're with, but she doesn't want you to know that she cares enough to check. This is classic behavior from someone who's trying to maintain emotional distance while being completely unable to actually disconnect. And here's the test that proves everything. If you go quiet on social media for a few days, watch what happens. If she reaches out, even with something small like, "Hey, you good?" or "You've been quiet lately," that's confirmation. The absence created anxiety. And anxiety only exists when someone is invested. She noticed you were gone because she checks for you constantly. But here's the question that should be rattling around in your head right now. How often is she really checking? Once a day. And what does that say about how much space you're taking up in her mind while she's pretending you barely exist in her life? Think about that. Sign 4. She brings you up to mutual friends but acts casual about it, the information gatherer. All right, this is the sign I mentioned earlier, the one where she's doing something behind your back. And when you realize what it is, you're going to immediately start wondering who she's talked to and what she's asked. Because this isn't just curiosity, this is investigation. If you have mutual friends, she's asking about you. How's he doing? Is he seeing anyone? What's he been up to? What's his deal? But when those friends tell her something about you, she acts like it's no big deal. She'll say something like, "Oh, cool," or "That's random," and then change the subject quickly. Why does this matter? Because people who don't care don't ask questions, but people who are obsessed need information. She's trying to piece together your life without directly asking you, because asking you would reveal too much. She's building a profile of you through other people because she can't risk you knowing she's this interested. But here's where it gets deeper and honestly a little invasive. She's not just asking surface level questions. She's asking about your past, your previous relationships, what went wrong, what you're looking for. Your friends might not even realize they're being interrogated because she makes it sound casual, but every answer is being filed away. And here's another layer to this that's going to make you paranoid. If your mutual friends have mentioned her asking about you, that's even stronger. Evidence. She's not hiding her interest from them. She's hiding it from you. Why? Because they're safe. You're not. You have the power to hurt her, so you're the last person she'll be honest with about how she feels. But here's the really messed up part. She might also be managing her reputation with your friends, making sure they see her in a certain light, planting seeds about her good qualities, not in an obvious way, but subtly, so that if anything ever happens between you two, your friends are already on her side. That's not manipulation. That's strategy. That's someone who's thinking 10 steps ahead because they care about the outcome. So ask yourself this. Have your friends mentioned her name randomly? Have they brought her up in conversations where it didn't quite fit? Have they said things like she's actually really cool or you should get to know her better? If yes, she's been working in the background and you had no idea. Now I know what you're thinking. This sounds manipulative, but it's not. It's self-preservation. It's someone who wants you so badly that they're doing everything possible to stack the odds in their favor without taking the risk of rejection. And when you think about it that way, it's actually kind of heartbreaking. Sign 5. She gets jealous, but hides it behind sarcasm, the masked threat response. You mention another girl even in passing, maybe a co-worker, maybe someone you ran into, maybe just a friend, and her entire demeanor shifts. But instead of admitting she's bothered, she makes a sarcastic comment. "Oh, cool. Sounds like you guys are best friends now." Or, "Wow, she sounds amazing," or "must be nice." Most guys miss this because it sounds like mockery, not jealousy. It sounds like she's making fun of you, not revealing her feelings. But sarcasm is a shield. It's a way to express a feeling without being vulnerable about it. If she didn't care, she wouldn't comment at all. She'd let it slide. She wouldn't even register it. But jealousy is involuntary. It's a biological response to the perceived threat of losing something you value. And the fact that she's feeling it means you have value to her, significant value. So when she's masking jealousy with humor or sarcasm, she's doing two things. One, she's protecting her ego by acting like she doesn't care. And two, she's testing you to see if you'll reassure her, even though she'd never admit she wants reassurance. But here's where it gets interesting and kind of toxic, if we're being honest. Pay attention to what happens after she makes these sarcastic comments. Does she go quiet? Does she pull back for a few hours or days? Because that's her punishing you for making her feel jealous while simultaneously pretending she's not jealous at all. It's a contradiction. It's illogical, but it's also deeply human. She's hurt that you made her feel replaceable, but she can't tell you that because telling you that would mean admitting she doesn't want to be replaced, which means admitting she cares, which means giving you power. So instead, she withdraws. She goes cold. She makes you feel her absence without explaining why. And if you're not paying attention, you'll think she's moody or unstable. But what she's really doing is communicating. That hurt me, and I need you to notice and fix it without me having to ask. Here's the test. Next time she makes a sarcastic comment about another woman, respond with something that reassures her without making it obvious. Something like, she's all right, but she's not really my type. Or, yeah, she's cool, but we're just friends. Watch what happens. If her entire mood shifts back to normal within minutes, that's confirmation. She needed to know she's not competing because in her mind, she's already claimed you. You just don't know it yet. But here's the dangerous question. If she's this jealous now, when you're not even together, what happens if you actually date her? Is this a preview of something unhealthy? Or is this just the awkward phase before she feels secure? I'll answer that at the end. But for now, keep watching because sign 6 is the one that's going to mess with your head. Sign 6. She picks fights over nothing. The loyalty test. Here it is. The big one, the sign that most men completely misinterpret and the one that makes you think there's no way. That's a sign of love. That's toxic. But stay with me because the psychology behind this is going to change how you see conflict forever. She starts small conflicts. You said something. She twists into an argument. You didn't text back fast enough and now she's annoyed. You made a joke and suddenly she's offended. You forgot something minor and she's acting like it's a betrayal. Your reaction is probably, why is she being so difficult? This is exhausting. This is a red flag. But here's what's actually happening. And this is going to sound insane until you understand the psychology. She's testing whether you'll stay. Conflict is her way of seeing if you're going to bail when things aren't perfect. Because if you stick around when she's being difficult, it proves you're not just there for the easy moments. You're there for her, the real her, the messy, complicated, emotional her. Psychologists call this stress testing. It's unconscious. She's not sitting there plotting to start a fight. Her brain is creating challenges to assess your reliability. And the more she does this, the more it means she's thinking long term. She needs to know that when real problems arise, you won't disappear. But here's the part that's going to make you uncomfortable. This behavior often comes from abandonment wounds. She's been left before, probably when she was vulnerable, probably when she needed someone most. So now her brain is running a test. Will he leave me like the others did? Let me find out now before I'm in too deep. It's not fair to you. It's not healthy, but it's also not malicious. It's survival. It's a damaged person trying to protect themselves from more damage by making sure you're strong enough to handle the real her. Now, I'm not saying to tolerate disrespect or actual toxicity, but if she's picking small, almost petty fights, and you handle them with patience and consistency without getting defensive or walking away, she's watching. And every time you don't overreact or abandon her, you're proving you're safe. You're proving you're different. But here's the dark reality. If you fail this test, if you blow up or disappear, you confirm her worst fear, that she's too much, that she's unlovable, that everyone leaves eventually, and she'll shut down completely. Not because she doesn't love you, but because you just proved she was right to protect herself in the first place. So the question you need to ask yourself is this. Can you handle someone who's testing you? Can you see the scared person behind the conflict? Or does this feel like too much work? Because there's no wrong answer, but you need to be honest with yourself before you get deeper into this. Sign 7. She talks about her future plans without including you. Then watches your reaction, the inclusion test. This one is subtle but devastating if you're not paying attention. And when you realize what she's doing, it's going to feel like a trap because in a way it is. She'll mention something she's planning, a trip she wants to take, a goal she's working toward, a place she wants to live someday, a career move she's considering, and she says it in a way that doesn't include you. She talks about I and me, never we or us. But here's the key. After she says it, she watches you. She's reading your face. She's listening to your response. She's analyzing your tone. She's trying to figure out if you're thinking about a future with her, because she's absolutely thinking about a future with you. She's already imagined it in detail. She's just too scared to say it out loud. If you respond with genuine interest, if you engage with her plans without trying to insert yourself, that's what she needs to see. She needs to know you respect her independence, that you're not the kind of guy who's going to try to control her or hold her back. But if she sees disappointment or detachment in your reaction, that tells her something too. It tells her whether you're as invested as she is. It tells her if you're imagining a future together or if you're just here for right now. This is a covert way of testing compatibility without risking rejection. Because if she said, I want you to be part of my future, and you didn't feel the same way, that would crush her. So instead, she talks about her future in a way that gives you the option to imagine yourself in it without forcing the conversation. But here's where it gets manipulative, whether she realizes it or not. If you do show interest, if you hint that you'd want to be part of those plans, she now has information. She knows you're thinking long term, but she doesn't have to reveal whether she feels the same way. She gets your cards on the table while keeping hers hidden. It's strategic, it's self-protective, and it's completely unfair to you, but it's also what people do when they're terrified of rejection. They gather information before they risk vulnerability. So pay attention to this pattern. If she's constantly talking about her future and watching your reaction, she's not just making conversation, she's conducting research. She's trying to figure out if you're the kind of man who can handle a woman with ambition, with plans, with a life that existed before you and will continue to exist regardless of whether you stay or go. And here's the real question she's asking without asking. Will you support my dreams, or will you be intimidated by them? Your answer to that question determines everything. Sign 8. She acts unimpressed by things that clearly impress her. The value test. This is the final sign, the one that reveals everything. And when you understand what she's doing and why, it's going to make you see every past interaction differently. You accomplish something, you share good news, you show her something you're proud of. Maybe you got a promotion, maybe you finished a project, maybe you achieved a goal you've been working toward, and her reaction is underwhelming. A simple "that's cool" or "nice." No excitement, no enthusiasm, just acknowledgement. And then she moves on. But if you look closer, if you know what to look for, you'll catch the micro expressions, the quick smile before she shuts it down, the way her eyes light up for a split second before she controls her face, the fact that she brings it up later in a different context, proving she actually thought it was a bigger deal than she let on. Why does she do this? Because showing you that she's impressed means showing you that you have value to her. And that's power. That's vulnerability. So she downplays her reaction to protect herself from appearing too interested, too invested, too far gone. But here's the twisted part. By not giving you the validation you deserve, she's also testing you. She's seeing if you need her approval to feel good about yourself. She's checking if your confidence is internal or if you're seeking external validation. Because a man who needs her praise is a man she can control. But a man who's proud of himself regardless of her reaction, that's a man she respects. That's a man she wants. So it's a test, a cruel one maybe, but a test nonetheless. And if you react by seeking her approval, by trying to make her see how impressive your achievement is, you fail. But if you just accept her muted response and move on, secure in your own accomplishments, you pass. And here's what happens when you pass. Later, when you're not looking for it, she'll bring it up. She'll mention your accomplishment to someone else in front of you with pride in her voice. She'll reference it in a way that shows she was paying attention the whole time. She was impressed the whole time. She just couldn't show you in the moment because that would make her too vulnerable. It's exhausting. Honestly, it's emotionally immature, but it's also what people do when they're protecting themselves from getting hurt while simultaneously falling in love. They withhold praise not because they don't feel it, but because feeling it scares them. What you do next changes everything. The one thing you must never say. So now you know the 8 signs that prove she's madly in love with you while acting like you're nothing. But here's where most guys mess this up. They use this information to confront her. They push for a confession. They try to force her to admit what she's feeling. And here's the one sentence I mentioned at the beginning, the one that will destroy everything. Never ever say this. I know you have feelings for me. Why? Because the moment you say that, you've taken away her choice. You've exposed her before she was ready to be exposed, and that will make her retreat faster than anything else you could possibly do. She'll deny it. She'll gaslight you. She'll make you feel crazy for even suggesting it, not because you're wrong, but because you've cornered her. Here's what you do instead. You give her space without disappearing. You stay consistent without being clingy. You show interest without being desperate. You let her see through your actions, not your words, that you're not going to hurt her, that you're emotionally stable enough to handle her walls without taking it personally. And here's the secret that changes everything. When she finally realizes she can trust you, when those defenses come down, the love she's been fighting becomes the love she finally gives freely. The coldness melts, the distance closes, and suddenly she's the most open, affectionate, devoted person you've ever met. But you have to be patient enough to let that happen naturally. You have to understand that real connection isn't built in a day. It's built in moments of you proving over and over that you're safe, that you're different, that you're worth the risk. Now, here's the hard truth. This process can take weeks, sometimes months, and there's no guarantee it works out. Some women are so damaged, so scared, that they never let their walls down, no matter how patient you are. So you have to ask yourself, is she worth the wait? Is this behavior something you can handle long term? Or is this a preview of a relationship that will always require you to decode her true feelings? Only you can answer that. But at least now you know what you're looking at. At least now you're not confused, you're informed. And information is power. The bottom line, the choice you have to make. Look, I get it. It's confusing when someone's actions don't match their feelings, when they act like you're nothing while losing sleep over you. But that's the reality of how some women protect themselves in a world where vulnerability feels dangerous. She's not playing games. She's scared. She's been hurt. She's carrying wounds from people who came before you, and you're paying the price for their mistakes. It's not fair, but it's real. And if you can see that, if you can respond with patience instead of frustration, you become the exception. You become the person she stops running from and starts running toward. But you also have to decide if this is what you want. Because understanding her behavior doesn't mean you have to accept it. You're allowed to want someone who's emotionally available, someone who doesn't make you guess, someone who shows love clearly instead of hiding it behind tests and walls. There's no wrong choice, but you have to make a choice. Do you stay and prove you're safe? Or do you walk away and find someone who's ready to love without all the defense mechanisms? So if you recognize these signs, if this sounds like someone in your life right now, don't panic, don't chase, don't demand, and definitely don't confront. Just be steady, be consistent, be the kind of person who understands that real love isn't always loud or obvious. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's hidden, sometimes it needs time to feel safe enough to show itself. But also be honest with yourself about whether this is sustainable, because you deserve someone who meets you halfway eventually. And if she can't do that, no amount of understanding her psychology will make it work. If this helped you see things differently, drop a comment and let me know which sign hit hardest for you. Was it sign 6, sign 4? Did any of this make you rethink a situation you're in right now? And subscribe, because I'm breaking down the psychology behind attraction and connection in ways most people never talk about. This is about understanding what's really happening beneath the surface. And trust me, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Now go watch that video on the screen about the 3 things women do when they're secretly obsessed with you. Because if she's showing these 8 signs, she's probably showing those 3 as well. And when you combine all of that information, you'll have complete clarity on exactly where you